In section 1.1, we start out with a little bit of geometry reminders. And some of these things you may have seen before, and some of you, it may be a very long time ago that you saw them. But at any rate, let's look at the difference between the line, the segment, and the ray. A line goes on forever to infinity, both directions. A segment, on the other hand, does not have arrows over here. There are endpoints on both ends. A ray has an endpoint on one end and then goes to infinity this direction. So a ray has one endpoint. Now, by definition, an angle is a ray, so you've got this thing that rotates around its endpoint. So it starts here at its initial side and it rotates and it gets in a terminal side. So you have then an angle. Now, when we talk about angles, we talk about positive angles. They rotate counterclockwise, and negative angles rotate clockwise. So that we need to remember that distinction. Angles are measured in degrees, and if you go a complete rotation, you start here, you go all the way around, you've gone 360 degrees. So we need to remember that. Then we describe angles by their degree measure, and if they are less than 90 degrees, they're acute. If they're exactly 90 degrees, they are right angles. If they're greater than 90 degrees, they are obtuse. And if it happens to be a straight line, that's 180 degrees. We're getting a lot of definitions and information right here. Complementary angles are those that add up to 90. So that could be like 40 and 50. Those are complementary. It could also be 2 and 88. Anything that adds up to 90 are complementary angles. If they add up to 180, they are supplementary. So that's the difference there. Now, an angle is said to be in standard position if its initial side is on the x-axis. So if it starts here and goes that way, it is in standard position. Now let's talk about the quadrants. An angle lies in the quadrant where the terminal side lies. And we number our quadrants counterclockwise, 1, 2, 3, 4. So anything between 0 and 90 is in quadrant 1. Between 90 and 180, it's quadrant 2, etc. And so the angles that are here at the edges, those are called quadrantal angles. So 0, 90, 180, and 270. Now, coterminal angles have the same initial and terminal, but different amounts of rotation. In other words, let's look at this red. This is 120 degrees. So we went past 90 and we're over here. And so this red angle is 120 degrees. If I started here, but I went backwards in the negative direction, I've gone 240 degrees and I end up at the same place, but that one's negative. Also, if I start the same place as the 120 and I go all the way around and then more, so that I've gone 480 degrees and I still end up next on this red line, those are coterminal angles. So often angles are named with Greek letters, and I just put all of them in the notes here in case you see one that you don't know what its name is. Most common is theta, which is right here, but we also see alpha and beta and some of these others, and so I just put that chart there for you to see. Now, you may be using your calculator, and I put some screenshots of the calculator for different things. So when you're calculating angle measures, there is a button right here, the arrow shows you, and above that it says angle. So if you hit second and the apps key, it gives you this menu. It's all about the angle, and here you can get degrees or minutes, those first two. Now, if you need seconds, you have to do a little bit different. You have to go to alpha and the plus sign. Right over here, you can see that the green in this calculator, the green gives you the seconds. So alpha and the plus will give you seconds. Also in this same menu, if you have something in decimal, but you want it in degrees, minutes, seconds, you can put the angle in and then come here to second angle and hit DMS. And so that will get you going on at least the lecture note part for 1.1. Now let's look at some practice problems, and these would help you get ready for your homework. The first one says find the complement and supplement of the given angle. Remember, complements add up to 90. So you subtract to the 66 from 90, you get 24. And subtract from 180, you get 114. You would do that same thing with number 2. You're given 44 degrees. You find that 46 and 136 are the supplement. So you're just subtracting from either 90 for complementary or 180 for supplementary. Now, on number 3, it says find the complementary and supplementary angles, but you've got degrees, minutes, seconds. You can use the calculator using the buttons that I showed in the lecture notes, or you could do it by hand. Some people prefer to do it by hand. And so I've done them by hand here. So if you have to subtract from 90, well, you've got all this stuff, and so you have to borrow. Old time subtraction, we got to borrow. So take 1 degree from this, and that gives you 89 degrees, and then you would have 60 minutes here, but you need to borrow again. So this becomes 89 degrees, 59 minutes, and 60 seconds. Now you can just do the subtraction down, and you end up with 41 degrees, 20 minutes, 25 seconds. Same thing with the 180. We had to borrow, so we ended up with, we took 1 degree, so that was 179, and then we took 1 minute away from the 60. Remember, there's 60 minutes in a degree and 60 seconds in a minute. And so you end up with this, you do your subtraction, and you get your final answer there. Now in this question, it says find the measure of each angle. So what we first need to notice is that there's a little square here. That indicates it's a right angle. If it's a right angle, we should know that it's equal to 90 degrees. So take this, 18x plus 3, and add it to 2x plus 7, and you should get 90 degrees. And so we'll solve for x. We'll combine the 18x and the 2x, so we have 20x. Combine those, 20x plus 10 equals 90. Subtract the 10, 20x equals 80, x is 4. Now that's not our answer, but we had to get that in order to plug in. So plug in 4 in both of these x parts, and you get 75 and 15. So you have solved for the measure of each angle. Again, it says find the sum alpha plus beta of the 2 angles, and it gives you the 2 angles. So we can do this by hand, or you could do them on the calculator. It's up to you. You could do either way. But if you do it here, so when I add this, I get 65 minutes, and I have 55 degrees. Well, you take, and I just don't have my pen. Let me do this. We're good. I'll fix that in a minute. So if you have 65 minutes, you know that 60 minutes is 1 degree. So if you take out 60 of that and add 1 degree here, you've got 56 degrees. You have 5 minutes left. So you just have to watch that. On number 6, same idea. We're subtracting. We had to borrow, so we have 179 degrees and 60 minutes. Subtract and subtract, we get 12 degrees, 9 minutes. All right, now on this one, I did it on the calculator, and I just took 90 degrees, put it in, and subtracted 43 degrees, 53 minutes, 38 seconds, and I got this. Now, it wants you to do that into degrees, minutes, seconds. All right, so I thought I'd go through this one completely with you, and then you'll be able to do those others, I'm sure. So if we did 90 and we do second angle and we get degrees, so I've got 90 degrees minus 43, go back and get the degrees, and 53 minutes, and second angle, and I'll choose number 2, which is the minutes. So now I've got that much. Now I need the 38 seconds. 38, and remember that's alpha and the plus sign. And so now I've got my problem there, and I hit enter. So I'm in a decimal number, but I need the answer to be in degrees, minutes, seconds. So if I go back to second angle and I hit number 4, it's saying take that answer and turn it into that. So when I do that, I get my 46 degrees, 6 minutes, 22 seconds. And so, I don't know if I have that down, but that's how we would get that answer, and that would be your final answer. Let me put this here. Okay, so I put that one there, and so that shows how we changed that for that one. All right, that was number 7. Let's go to number 8. All right, number 8 says, watch the video and then solve the problem. That will be an author video there, and so you may or may not need to do that. But this says, get rid of this, find the sum of the two angles. So I did it in the calculator, and I got 40 degrees 52 plus 19 degrees 15, and I got 60.11, I got that. And then I changed it, second angle DMS, and I got 60 degrees 7 minutes. So that's how we do that. Number 9, you're given everything in degrees, minutes, seconds, and you want to change it to decimal. So you put it in the way I showed you with the degrees, the minutes, the seconds, and then you just hit enter and it will put it in decimal. And it does say round to 3 decimal places, so be sure you watch that. You would only put in 215.083. All right. Same thing here. You would put in 42.27 and go do DMS. It would give you these numbers. Okay. All right, number 11. Find the measure of the least positive angle that is coterminal with A. So it says A is 125. All right, so if we start my green here, I'm going to go the same direction because it said positive, and I'm going to go all the way around until I hit the red line that was at 125. So that's 360 plus 125. That gives me 485. Let's look at that again. If you kind of draw the 125 like that and make your line, then go here, start, and go all the way around till you hit red again, and then understand that you've gone 360, so you're going to add 360 to 125 and get 485. Number 12, which is our last question, says find the angle that's least positive. So we're given negative 127. Remember, those go clockwise. So we're down here and we went, and there's my angle. Now to get a positive one for that, I start up here on the X. I go till I meet that red. How am I going to figure out what that is? You're going to subtract from 360, and that gets you 233. These, if you're thinking absolute value, these two numbers add up to 360. So you subtract to get the 233, which is your answer. So hopefully that will prepare you for section 1.1.